The church was silent, too silent. Every candle flickered like it knew the truth. This wasn't a wedding. It was a transaction sealed in blood. Aaron stood at the altar in a crisp white suit that felt more like a shroud than a symbol of joy. His hands trembled slightly as he held the bouquet, its petals trembling too, fragile, just like him. Across from him stood Leon Moretti, the infamous heir to the Moretti Mafia empire. Cold, beautiful, dangerous. His dark eyes burned with quiet hatred, and his jaw was set like stone. He didn't even look at Aaron. To him, this ceremony was nothing but a punishment, a reminder that his father had forced him to marry the very thing he despised. A man. Aaron tried not to look at him, but his heart ached anyway. This wasn't love. This was payment. His family's debt, his brother's mistake, was being repaid with his body, his name, his freedom. The priest's voice echoed through the grand hall. "Do you, Leon Moretti, take Aaron to be your lawfully wedded spouse?" Leon's lips curved into a smirk so sharp it could draw blood. "If I must," the guests whispered, scandal thick in the air. Aaron swallowed hard, forcing the words out when it was his turn. "Ido." His voice broke, barely a whisper. When Leon leaned in to kiss him, it wasn't affection. It was dominance. His grip on Aaron's chin was iron-tight, his kiss cold and lifeless. The photographers captured the moment, but no one saw the tears Aaron was holding back. Later that night, in the mansion that now belonged to them both, Leon threw his jacket onto the chair and poured himself a drink. "Don't expect love, sweetheart," he said bitterly. "You're just a pawn in my father's game, and I intend to win." Aaron stood frozen by the doorway, clutching his trembling hands. He had dreamed of love once, soft, real, mutual love. But tonight, standing under the shadow of a man who hated him for existing, he realized something painful. His life wasn't his anymore. And yet, deep inside his breaking heart, a spark flickered, the kind of quiet rebellion that could turn pain into power. He whispered to himself, "You can hate me all you want, Leon, but one day you'll wish you didn't." The honeymoon suite was a palace of shadows. Gold chandeliers shimmered above, but no amount of luxury could hide the frost that filled the room. Aaron stood near the window, staring at the city lights below, trying to forget the way Leon's hand had gripped his wrist during the ceremony. Not in affection, but in warning. Leon entered behind him, his presence filling the space like smoke, suffocating, inescapable. He loosened his tie, poured another glass of whiskey, and said without looking at Aaron, "You can take the bed. I don't touch things I don't want." The words stabbed deeper than any knife. Aaron's throat tightened, but he refused to cry. "You don't have to hate me," he said quietly. "I didn't choose this either." Leon turned, his eyes sharp like ice. "You think I hate you?" He took a slow step forward, his voice low and dangerous. "No, Arin. I hate what you represent, weakness, lies, my father's control. You're just the pretty reminder of everything I lost." Aaron flinched but stood his ground. "Then take your anger out on him, not me." Leon chuckled darkly, his lips curving in a cruel smile. "You're part of the deal, sweetheart, and I don't break deals." He moved closer, close enough that Aaron could smell the faint hint of alcohol and cedar. His hand brushed Aaron's chin, firm, possessive, before dropping away just as coldly. The silence that followed was deafening. Aaron turned away, blinking back tears. He sat on the edge of the massive bed, the silk sheets smooth and cold beneath his fingers. Outside, thunder cracked across the sky, like the world was warning him that this marriage would destroy him piece by piece. When Leon finally lay on the couch across the room, he muttered, "Don't expect me to pretend. Tomorrow you'll act like the perfect husband in front of my father. But behind closed doors, stay out of my sight." Aaron lay awake long after Leon fell asleep, staring at the ceiling. The storm outside raged, matching the one inside his heart. He had married a man who despised him. He had been thrown into a world of mafia power and secrets. But as the rain beat against the windows, a quiet vow formed in Aaron's chest. "If this is hell, I'll learn to survive it. And maybe, just maybe, make the devil fall for me. The morning after the storm was deceptively calm. Sunlight spilled through the velvet curtains, glinting off the crystal decanters and polished floors of the Moretti mansion. Aaron woke up to the sound of footsteps. Heavy, precise, and full of command. Leon was already dressed in a black suit, his expression unreadable as he buttoned his cuffs. "Get up," Leon said without glancing at him. "Breakfast is at 8. My father doesn't like waiting." Aaron blinked sleep from his eyes and rose slowly. "What if I'm not hungry?" he murmured. Leon finally looked at him, that same cold gaze that could make anyone freeze. "Then pretend you are. You're my husband now, remember? In this house, appearances are everything." As they walked down the grand staircase, Aaron caught sight of armed guards stationed at the doors, their expressions blank and mechanical. The air was thick with power and danger. This wasn't just a mansion. It was a kingdom built on fear. At the dining table sat Don Alessandro Moretti, Leon's father, the true head of the family. His presence alone silenced the room. His gray eyes flicked over Aaron like he was a new weapon to evaluate. "So," the Don began, cutting into his steak, "my son finally brings home a husband. How romantic." His tone dripped with mockery. "Tell me, Aaron, do you know what kind of world you've married into?" Aaron's pulse raced, but he forced himself to answer. "I know enough to understand that respect is earned, not given." Leon's head snapped toward him, surprise flashing briefly in his eyes. Don Moretti chuckled, a deep, dangerous sound. "You have a spine. Good. You'll need it." The rest of breakfast passed in silence, broken only by the faint ticking of an antique clock. When they returned upstairs, Leon closed the door sharply. "Rule number 1, he said coldly, stepping closer until Aaron could feel his breath. "Never talk back to my father. You don't know what he's capable of." Aaron frowned. "And rule number 2? Leon's eyes darkened. "Don't go anywhere alone. Everyone here smiles. Until they stab you in the back." Aaron swallowed hard, the weight of his new reality settling in. "And rule number 3? Leon leaned in, his voice a low whisper. "Don't fall in love with me. It'll only get you killed." For a moment, neither moved. The tension between them was electric. Fear, defiance, and something else neither wanted to name. As Leon walked away, Aaron's thoughts spiraled. He didn't understand this cruel man, or why part of him wanted to. Maybe it was the loneliness. Maybe it was the fire in Leon's eyes that looked too much like pain. But one thing was certain, this wasn't just a marriage. It was a game of survival, power, and secrets. And somewhere between the danger and the hatred, love would find its way, even if it burned them both alive. The sound of gunfire shattered the quiet night. Aaron froze in the long marble hallway, a silver tray still trembling in his hands. The Moretti mansion, usually echoing with distant voices and the clinking of glass, was now filled with chaos, footsteps, shouting, the metallic scent of blood crawling into the air. He shouldn't have been there. Leon had warned him never to leave their wing after dark. But curiosity, or perhaps a need to understand the man he'd been forced to marry, had led him downstairs. Now, standing at the corner of the corridor, he saw it. Leon. His husband stood in the middle of the courtyard, black coat billowing in the wind, a gun in his gloved hand. Around him, several men knelt on the ground, trembling, bound, faces pale under the dim light. One of them dared to speak. "Please, boss. It wasn't me, I swear." Leon didn't blink. He fired once. The man collapsed. Aaron's breath hitched. The tray fell from his hands, clattering loudly on the floor. Every head turned, including Leon's. For a moment, the world stopped. The cold, perfect mask Leon always wore cracked just slightly as his eyes met Aaron's. Wide, terrified, and full of disbelief. He holstered his gun, barked an order to his men, and strode toward Aaron. His boots echoed against the marble, heavy and sharp like thunder. "What the hell are you doing here?" he hissed, grabbing Aaron by the wrist. His grip was tight, almost bruising. Didn't I tell you to stay upstairs? Aaron trembled but met his gaze. You killed him. Leon's jaw clenched. He betrayed the family. That's how this world works. That's murder, Leon. Aaron shouted, voice breaking. You talk about rules and loyalty, but what about humanity? Leon's expression shifted. Not anger, not guilt, but something far more fragile. For a brief moment he looked almost lost. Then he pushed it away. Humanity gets people killed. He dragged Aaron back toward their room, slammed the door, and stood there for a moment in silence, breathing hard. The tension between them was unbearable. Aaron whispered, You think killing makes you strong, but I see it the way your hands shake when it's over. You're not heartless, Leon. You're just broken. Leon turned sharply, eyes blazing with pain and rage. You don't know anything about me. Then let me, Aaron said softly. Let me understand. For a long time Leon said nothing. The silence between them stretched thin, like glass about to shatter. Finally he looked away, voice barely above a whisper. My first kill wasn't for business, he said. It was for revenge. And just like that, the walls around him began to crack, revealing the man beneath the monster. Aaron didn't know it yet, but that night would change everything. Because beneath the blood and shadows, a forbidden bond had started to form. The next morning, the mansion was quiet again, eerily so, as if the gunfire of last night had never happened. The servants went about their duties in silence, eyes lowered, pretending not to remember the blood that stained the courtyard tiles. Aaron sat at the breakfast table, untouched coffee cooling in his hands. Across from him, Leon read the morning paper as if nothing in the world had changed. His calm, his control, it was terrifying. But Aaron saw what others didn't. The slight tremor in Leon's fingers as he turned the page, the faint redness around his knuckles, from clenching his fists too long. The mask was still there, but now Aaron knew it was made of glass. He waited until the servants left. I heard what you said last night, Aaron said softly. About revenge. Leon didn't look up. Forget it. I can't, Aaron replied, because the man I saw yesterday wasn't a monster. He was hurting. Leon's jaw tightened. You think you can fix me, pretty boy? He asked coldly. You think your sympathy will make me pure? No, Aaron said. But maybe you deserve to be seen, not feared. The words hung between them like fragile glass. For a long time, Leon said nothing. Then, with a slow exhale, he leaned back in his chair and spoke, voice low and distant. My mother, he began, wasn't part of this world. She was kind, too kind. She tried to take me away from my father when I was 12. Said she didn't want me to grow up a killer. Aaron's chest tightened. What happened? Leon's eyes darkened, empty yet burning. My father found us before we crossed the border. He told me to prove my loyalty. I did. The silence that followed was suffocating. Aaron's heart dropped as realization hit him. You had to. Leon nodded once. One bullet. That's all it took to become his perfect heir. Aaron's hands trembled. The man before him, cruel, cold, untouchable, wasn't born a monster. He was made into one. Without thinking, Aaron reached out and touched Leon's hand. It was a simple gesture, but Leon flinched as if it burned him. Don't, Leon whispered. Don't touch me like that. Why? Because it makes me remember I'm human. Aaron's eyes filled with tears, but he didn't pull back. Then remember, even if it hurts. For a fleeting moment, their hands stayed connected, warmth against the cold. Leon's defenses cracked just enough for a ghost of emotion to pass through. Then, just as quickly, he stood up, his expression shutting down again. Get dressed, he said gruffly. We have a meeting tonight. My father wants to see how well you've adjusted to being a Moretti. As Leon left the room, Aaron stared at the door long after it closed. The truth had shaken him, but it also awakened something else inside him. Pity, compassion, and something deeper, something forbidden. The beginnings of love for the man who had been forced to kill his own heart. The Moretti mansion gleamed like a palace that night, chandeliers blazing, tables dressed in gold and crimson, the scent of expensive wine hanging thick in the air. But beneath all the glitter, danger pulsed like a hidden heartbeat. It wasn't just a dinner, it was a test. Aaron stood beside Leon, dressed in a tailored black suit that Leon's assistant had chosen for him. Every eye in the room turned toward them, some curious, some mocking, others sharp and calculating. Mafia men and their wives whispered behind crystal glasses, analyzing the new husband. Don Alessandro sat at the head of the table, his silver hair gleaming like steel. "Ah, the newlyweds," he said with a cold smile. "How beautiful it is to see love unite families, especially after so much blood." Leon's jaw tightened. "Let's skip the poetry, father. You wanted us here. We're here." The Don chuckled, swirling his wine. "Still impatient, my son. You used to be more polite before you started killing in my name." The tension in the room thickened. Aaron felt the invisible weight of every gaze, every hidden weapon. He knew one wrong word could cost him everything. So he smiled, politely, carefully, and said, "Some people express love in words, others in loyalty. I suppose Leon's way is protective." A few people laughed under their breath. The Don arched a brow, intrigued. "Bold," he murmured. "You speak like a man who isn't afraid of death." Aaron swallowed. "Maybe because I already died once, the moment I married into this family." For a second, silence reigned. Then Don Alessandro laughed, genuinely this time. "I like him. Keep him alive, Leon. He might be useful." The rest of the dinner passed in a haze of forced smiles and silent tension. But Aaron could feel someone watching him. Not Leon, not the Don, but someone else. A man seated across the table, wearing a sharp gray suit and an unsettling grin. After dinner, as Aaron stepped out into the garden for a breath of air, the man followed. "You're brave," the stranger said smoothly. Not many talk back to the Don. Aaron stiffened. "And you are?" "Vittorio De Luca," he replied, bowing slightly. "Your husband's business associate and his biggest rival." There was a glint in his eyes, the kind that promised both charm and danger. "Careful who you trust here, pretty husband," Vittorio murmured, his voice low and intimate. "Leon's not the only one with secrets. The Morettas have enemies in every shadow, even under their own roof." Before Aaron could respond, Leon appeared, his expression dark and unreadable. He gripped Aaron's shoulder possessively. "Walk away, Vittorio." Vittorio smirked, touchy as always. He brushed past them, whispering, "I'll see you soon, Bello." Leon waited until he was gone before turning to Aaron, eyes burning. Never be alone with him again. Ever. Aaron met his gaze. "Why? Because you don't trust me?" "No," Leon said quietly. "Because I don't trust him. He kills people who remind him of what he can't have." The words sent a chill down Aaron's spine. As they walked back inside, he could still feel Vittorio's gaze following him, like a predator marking its prey. But what unsettled Aaron most wasn't Vittorio's warning. It was Leon's protectiveness. The way his hand lingered on Aaron's back a second too long. The way his voice trembled when he said ever. Somewhere in the middle of lies, danger, and power, a real emotion had started to bleed through, and neither of them knew how to stop it. The night of the Moretti anniversary gala arrived with thunderclouds and danger hidden beneath the glittering lights. It was the kind of event where every smile was a weapon and every toast could lead to bloodshed. Aaron stood in front of the mirror, adjusting his cufflinks, his reflection showing a man who looked confident. But inside, he was trembling. The black silk suit Leon had chosen for him fit perfectly, yet felt heavy, like armor. When Leon entered, dressed in a dark three-piece suit, he looked every inch the ruthless Mafia heir. Cold, commanding, untouchable. But when his eyes met Aaron's, something unspoken flickered there. "You'll stay by my side tonight," Leon said flatly. Aaron smirked lightly. "Is that an order or concern?" Leon's gaze hardened. "Both." The gala was held in a grand ballroom filled with chandeliers and the scent of expensive cigars. Men in tailored suits and women in diamond gowns filled the room, exchanging smiles that hid secrets. Music played softly, a slow waltz that seemed too gentle for a world built on violence. Leon's hand found Aaron's waist as they greeted the guests. It was part of the act, part of the illusion of the perfect Mafia couple. But when his hand lingered warm, steady, protective, Aaron's heart skipped a beat. Halfway through the evening, Leon was pulled away by his father to discuss business. Aaron wandered toward the balcony, finally able to breathe. The cool air kissed his skin, carrying the scent of rain. That's when he heard it. A whisper in the dark. "You shouldn't be alone, Bello." Vittorio stepped from the shadows, a glass of champagne in hand and a predatory smile on his lips. His gray eyes gleamed with dangerous amusement. "Your husband leaves you unguarded," he murmured. "Careless of him." Aaron's voice stayed calm, though his pulse raced. "You don't scare me, Vittorio." Vittorio chuckled. "You should be." The last person Leon cared about disappeared after one of these parties. Before Aaron could respond, a sudden flash caught his eye. A glint of steel reflected in the balcony door. Someone was aiming from above. Leon's voice cut through the air like thunder. "Aaron!" In a heartbeat, Leon lunged forward, grabbing Aaron and pulling him to the ground as a bullet shattered the marble pillar where he had been standing. The crowd screamed. Guards rushed in. Leon shielded Aaron with his body, his heartbeat pounding against Aaron's back. "Are you hurt?" he growled. Aaron shook his head, breathless. "No, but you." A thin line of blood trickled from Leon's arm, staining his sleeve. Aaron's eyes widened in panic. "You're bleeding." Leon ignored it, pulling Aaron close as his men secured the area. His voice dropped, trembling with fury and something deeper. "I told you never to be alone with him." "It wasn't Vittorio," Aaron said, gripping his arm. "Someone else wanted me dead." Leon's expression darkened, ice cold but burning with rage. "Then they've just declared war." That night, back in their room, Aaron tended to Leon's wound in silence. His hands shook as he cleaned the blood, but Leon didn't flinch. He just stared at Aaron with unreadable eyes. "Why did you save me?" Aaron whispered finally. Leon's voice was low, raw. "Because I can't stand the thought of losing you." The confession hung in the air. Too real, too heavy. For the first time, Leon didn't hide behind his cruelty. His mask was gone. Aaron felt his heart break and bloom all at once. The man who swore he'd never love was finally starting to fall, and it terrified them both. The rain came without warning, fierce, relentless, and loud enough to drown out the entire world. Thunder cracked across the sky as if the heavens themselves were mirroring the storm inside the Moretti mansion. Aaron stood at the window, his reflection blurred by raindrops. The night's events replayed endlessly in his mind. The bullet, Leon's blood, the way his body had shielded him without hesitation. Every second had been real, raw, terrifying. And yet, what haunted Aaron most wasn't the danger. It was Leon's words. "Because I can't stand the thought of losing you." He hadn't meant to hear that. He wasn't supposed to believe it. But now, it echoed through him like a heartbeat. The door burst open. Leon entered, soaked from the rain, his shirt clinging to his skin, hair dripping onto the polished floor. His eyes burned, not with anger this time, but with something far more complicated. "Why the hell did you go near Vittorio again?" he snapped, his voice rough with emotion. Aaron turned sharply. "Because you left me alone. I was protecting you." "By controlling me?" Aaron shot back, his voice breaking. "By treating me like another one of your men instead of your—" He stopped himself, biting down the word husband. Leon froze. "You think I wanted this marriage?" "No," Aaron whispered, stepping closer. "But I think you need it more than you admit." Lightning flashed, illuminating Leon's face. The pain, the fear, the longing he never showed anyone. "You don't understand what I am, Aaron," he said softly. "Everything I touch breaks. Everyone I love dies." Aaron's heart clenched. "Then stop breaking and start fighting for something worth keeping." For a moment, silence filled the room. The storm outside raged as Leon's defenses began to crumble. He took a slow step forward, then another until there was barely a breath between them. "Why do you keep trying to see good in me?" he asked hoarsely. "You should hate me." "Because I see the man you're afraid to be," Aaron said. "And I can't hate someone who's still bleeding inside." Leon's breath trembled. His hand reached up, hesitant, shaking, and brushed Aaron's cheek. The touch was electric, fragile. "I don't know how to love," Leon whispered. "Then let me teach you," Aaron murmured. The air between them shattered as Leon pulled him closer, lips crashing together in a desperate, aching kiss, one filled with all the anger, confusion, and longing they'd been denying. The storm roared louder, thunder rumbling as if the universe itself bore witness to their collision. When they finally broke apart, both were breathing hard, eyes glazed with emotion neither could name. "This changes nothing," Leon said weakly. "Tomorrow I'll still be me." Aaron smiled sadly. "Maybe, but tonight you're mine." For the first time since their marriage, Leon didn't sleep on the couch. That night, as the rain poured outside, the walls between them fell completely. And for the first time, Leon Moretti, the man made of ice and guilt, held someone like he was afraid to let go. The first rays of dawn crept through the half-open curtains, spilling soft gold across the room. Over tangled sheets, a discarded suit jacket, and two bodies lying too close to pretend it meant nothing. Aaron woke first. For a moment, he didn't move. He simply lay there, watching the slow rise and fall of Leon's chest. The Mafia king, feared by everyone, looked peaceful in sleep, almost human. But peace never lasted in the Moretti mansion. As Aaron traced a fingertip along the faint scar on Leon's shoulder, memories of last night rushed back. The storm, the kiss, the way Leon had held him like the world was ending. It hadn't been gentle. It had been desperate, honest, and Aaron knew something inside him had changed forever. Leon stirred, his eyes opening slowly. For once, they weren't cold, just tired, softer than Aaron had ever seen them. "You're still here," he murmured, voice rough with sleep. Aaron smiled faintly. "You expected me to run?" Leon looked away. Most people do. Silence settled between them, fragile but warm. Aaron wanted to reach for him again, but before he could, there was a knock at the door. Leon's entire demeanor shifted in an instant. The softness vanished, replaced by sharp alertness. "Come in," he said curtly, his voice now the command of a boss again. It was Marco, Leon's trusted right-hand man. He stopped dead when he saw Aaron wrapped in the bedsheet. His eyes flicked between them, surprise quickly masked by professionalism. "Apologies, sir," Marco said, "but we have a problem." Vittorio's men were spotted near the docks. "They were asking about your husband." Leon's expression darkened. "What about him?" "They said something about a target. That someone paid to have him watched. Maybe worse." Aaron's blood ran cold. "Me?" Leon stood, pulling on his shirt, his entire aura now pure command. "Double the guards around him," he ordered. "And find out who gave that order. If Vittorio thinks he can." "Leon," Aaron interrupted softly, standing and clutching the sheet around him. "Don't go after them because of me. You'll just make it worse." Leon turned to him, eyes burning. "I don't care if it makes it worse. No one touches what's mine." The words hit harder than he expected. Possessive, dangerous, yet somehow protective. After Marco left, Aaron faced Leon quietly. "Last night you said you didn't know how to love. But this, what you're doing now, it looks a lot like love to me." Leon stopped buttoning his cuff. His eyes met Aaron's, something unreadable flickering there. "Love is a weakness in my world, Aaron," he said. "And weakness gets people killed." "Then maybe it's time to change your world," Aaron whispered. Leon said nothing. He just stared at him for a long moment before leaving the room, shutting the door softly behind him. As the sound of his footsteps faded, Aaron sat on the edge of the bed, heart twisting painfully. He could still feel Leon's warmth on his skin, still taste him, still believe that maybe, just maybe, beneath all the power and danger, Leon Moretti's heart wasn't beyond saving. But outside the mansion, enemies were already moving. The game had changed. And now, love wasn't just a risk, it was a weapon. Rain poured over the city, washing blood down the cracked streets like ink. Somewhere in that chaos, Aaron sat alone in the back of a black car, fingers trembling as he gripped the hem of his jacket. Leon had ordered him not to leave the mansion, but Aaron couldn't stay trapped anymore. He needed answers. About the threat. About the people watching him. About why he was suddenly the center of a mafia war he never asked to be part of. "Stay in the car, Mr. Moretti," said Luca, Leon's bodyguard, from the driver's seat. "The boss will skin me alive if you step out." "I just need 5 minutes," Aaron pleaded. "I'll be right there, just outside the cafe." Luca sighed but relented. 5 minutes. Not a second more. Aaron stepped out, pulling up his hood. The street was dimly lit, filled with the hum of neon signs and the faint scent of smoke. The cafe was nearly empty except for an old man sitting near the corner. One of Leon's old contacts. The one who claimed to have seen Vittorio's men near the docks. The man looked up as Aaron approached. "You shouldn't have come here, boy," he rasped, eyes darting nervously to the windows. "They're watching." "Who?" Aaron asked, heart pounding. "Who's watching me?" The man leaned closer. "Someone close to Leon. Someone in his circle sold you out. You're not just bait, Aaron. You're the message." Before Aaron could ask more, the window shattered. Gunfire erupted. Luca burst in instantly, grabbing Aaron and throwing him to the floor. Bullets whizzed past. Coffee cups exploded. Glass rained down. In the distance, Aaron heard sirens, or maybe it was just his pulse roaring in his ears. "Boss, we're under fire," Luca shouted into his comms. Leon's voice came through, sharp and commanding. "Get him out now." Luca dragged Aaron toward the back exit, but another gunman appeared in the alley. Mask, black coat, rifle aimed straight at Aaron. And then, everything slowed. Luca moved, but not fast enough. The bullet tore through the air, only to be intercepted by another figure who appeared from the shadows. Leon. He'd come himself. The shot grazed his arm, but Leon didn't even flinch. He fired back, precise and lethal, dropping the gunman instantly. Then he turned to Aaron, chest heaving, eyes wild. "Didn't I tell you to stay in the damn house?" he shouted, grabbing Aaron by the shoulders. I wanted to help," Aaron cried. "I just wanted to understand." Leon's grip softened for a second. Then he pulled Aaron into a fierce embrace. "You almost got yourself killed," he murmured against his hair. "Do you have any idea what that would do to me?" Aaron froze. Leon's voice wasn't angry anymore. It was broken. "You said love was weakness," Aaron whispered. "But right now, you sound like a man in love." Leon's jaw tightened. "Maybe I am, but that doesn't mean you're safe." He cupped Aaron's face, thumb brushing away a drop of blood from his cheek. "From now on, you don't go anywhere without me. If they want to touch you, they'll have to go through me first." As he led Aaron back to the car, the world behind them burned. A cafe in ruins, a deal gone wrong, and enemies lurking in every shadow. But what neither of them knew was that this was just the beginning. The real traitor wasn't outside the mansion. He was already inside. The night after the shooting, the Moretti mansion felt heavier than ever. The hallways were silent except for the faint ticking of the antique clock and the steady rain outside. Aaron sat by the fireplace, his arms wrapped around himself, staring at the flickering flames. He could still smell the smoke from the cafe, still feel Leon's heartbeat pounding against his chest when he'd pulled him to safety. Leon hadn't spoken a word since they returned. He disappeared into his private office with his most trusted men, Luca, Matteo, and Sergio, all of them pale and tense. Hours passed. Then the shouting began. Who leaked his location? Leon's voice boomed from the other side of the hall. Someone fed that information straight to Vittorio's men. Someone in this house. The crash of glass echoed, followed by silence. Aaron flinched. He'd never heard Leon's voice shake before. Not with fear, not with rage. Luca emerged minutes later, his face grim. "It's bad," he muttered. "Leon found out the mole had access to your schedule, your car routes, even the cafe meeting. Someone inside's been selling information to the enemy." Aaron stood. "Who?" Luca hesitated. "Matteo." Aaron blinked. Matteo. The man who always smiled at him in the mornings, who brought him tea when Leon ignored him, who once told him he believed love made even the cruelest hearts softer. "No," Arin whispered. "That can't be right." But then Leon appeared at the door, eyes cold and unreadable. Blood stained his sleeve again, though Aaron couldn't tell if it was fresh or from before. "It's true," Leon said quietly. "Matteo confessed. Vittorio paid him to keep tabs on you. Said if he helped deliver you alive, his sister would be spared." Aaron's chest tightened. "So he did it for family." Leon's expression didn't change. "We all have families, but betrayal has only one punishment in my world." He turned, heading down the corridor, and Aaron followed without thinking. The basement smelled of damp stone and metal. Matteo was tied to a chair, his head bowed. When he looked up, tears streaked his face. "Leon, please, I didn't mean for it to go that far. They said they'd just scare him. I swear I never." Leon raised his gun. "Stop." Aaron stepped between them. "He made a mistake. He's not the real monster here." Leon's eyes flicked to him, a storm brewing behind them. "You think mercy keeps men like him loyal? Mercy gets people killed. You almost died, Aaron. I'm alive because of you." Aaron shot back. "But if you kill him now, you'll lose what little humanity you have left." For a long, agonizing moment, no one moved. Then Leon lowered the gun, but his voice turned ice cold. "Get out of my sight, Matteo. If I see you again, even once, I won't miss." Matteo sobbed as he was dragged away. When the door slammed shut, Leon turned to Aaron, his mask finally cracking. "You keep making me weak," he whispered, "and I don't know if that's saving me or destroying me." Aaron stepped closer, his voice trembling. "Maybe it's doing both." Leon's hand brushed his cheek, rough, trembling, unsure. For a moment, their breath mingled, close enough for Aaron to see the war in Leon's eyes, the one between vengeance and love, power and surrender. Then Leon stepped back, retreating into shadow. "Go to bed, Aaron. Tomorrow we deal with the rest." As Aaron left the basement, he didn't notice the small device hidden beneath the staircase. A blinking red light. Someone else was still watching. And this time they weren't after information. They were after blood. The night sky was painted crimson by the glow of the full moon, the kind of moon that promised blood and betrayal. The Moretti mansion stood silent under its eerie light, but inside, tension coiled tighter than ever. Aaron couldn't sleep. Every shadow felt like a threat, every sound like footsteps creeping closer. Since Matteo's betrayal, Leon had doubled security. Men patrolling every hall, surveillance feeds glowing in every room. But fear had already crawled into Aaron's bones. Downstairs, the grand study door was cracked open. Leon stood at the window, a glass of whiskey in hand, watching the moonlight spill over the courtyard. His suit jacket hung open, shirt half undone, and for the first time he looked exhausted. "You're awake," he said without turning. "I couldn't sleep." Aaron walked in quietly. "Every time I close my eyes, I see the cafe, the gunfire." Leon set the glass down. "You're safe here. I won't let anything touch you." Aaron stepped closer. "You can't protect me from everything, Leon. Not when there's someone else still feeding them information." Leon's jaw tightened. "I'm working on it." But before Aaron could answer, a loud crack echoed from the west wing, followed by the faint metallic rattle of automatic rifles being loaded. Leon froze. "Get down." The lights went out. Then chaos erupted. Bullets shattered windows. Flames burst from the courtyard as cars exploded outside. Men shouted orders over gunfire. Vittorio's men had found the mansion. Leon grabbed Aaron by the wrist. "Stay behind me." They moved through the hallways, marble floors now slick with blood and smoke. Leon's men returned fire from the balcony, while he led Aaron toward the hidden exit beneath the grand staircase. But before they could reach it, an explosion ripped through the east wall, throwing them both to the ground. Aaron's ears rang. Dust filled the air. When he opened his eyes, Leon was on top of him, shielding him with his body. "Are you hurt?" Leon's voice was low, urgent. Aaron shook his head, dazed. No, but your arm." Blood trickled down Leon's sleeve. He ignored it, pulling Aaron up. "We don't have time." Vittorio planned this perfectly. He knew exactly where to hit. Aaron's heart pounded. Someone told him again. Didn't they? Leon didn't answer, but his silence was enough. They burst into the corridor, but the ambush was already waiting. 4 men in tactical masks, guns raised. Leon shoved Aaron behind him and fired with perfect precision, dropping 2 instantly. Another lunged forward, and Leon took him down in hand-to-hand combat. Fast, brutal, efficient. The last man aimed at Aaron. Instinct took over. Aaron grabbed a fallen pistol and fired. The recoil knocked him back, but the shot landed, clean through the shoulder. The gunman fell. Leon turned, eyes wide. "You!" Aaron's hands trembled, but his voice was steady. "You're not the only one who can protect someone." For a heartbeat, their eyes met, blood, smoke, and something fierce flickering between them. Then Leon took his hand and pulled him toward the exit. They stumbled through the hidden passage, emerging into the cold night air behind the mansion. The flames reflected in Leon's eyes, fury and loss mixing with something softer. "Vittorio won tonight," Leon said bitterly. "He hit us where it hurts, but he made one mistake." "What mistake?" Aaron whispered. Leon looked at him, really looked. "He touched what's mine." He pulled Aaron close, pressing his forehead against his. "From this night on, Aaron, I'm done pretending you're just a debt I have to protect. You're the only thing I'd kill for." Aaron's breath hitched, tears burning his eyes. "Then don't die for me, Leon. Live for me." In the distance, sirens wailed. The mansion burned. And beneath the blood moon, the Mafia's coldest heart finally began to thaw. But they didn't know Vittorio wasn't done. The next target was love itself. The Moretti mansion was nothing but ashes now. What once stood as a symbol of power and fear was reduced to smoldering ruins. The fire brigade worked through the night, but Leon didn't watch the flames, he watched Aaron. The boy sat wrapped in a blanket on the back of Leon's car, staring at nothing. His eyes were empty, haunted. Leon approached quietly. "You should rest," he said softly, though his own voice sounded hollow. Aaron didn't respond at first. Then, barely above a whisper, he said, "How many people died tonight?" Leon hesitated. "Too many." Aaron's fingers clenched. "Because of me." No, Leon's tone sharpened instantly. "Because of me. They wanted to hurt me, Aaron. You were just the easiest way to do it." Aaron finally looked at him, eyes glassy but full of pain. "You call that better?" Leon had no answer. They drove back to a safe house hidden in the countryside, an old stone villa surrounded by pine trees and silence. Leon's men were stationed everywhere, but the quiet felt like a fragile lie. Inside, Aaron wandered through the rooms while Leon took call after call, shouting orders, arranging retaliation, demanding information about Vittorio's next move. But when he turned and saw Aaron standing in the doorway, barefoot and pale, something inside him cracked. "Aaron," he said quietly, lowering his phone. "You shouldn't be up." Aaron stepped closer, trembling. "Every time I close my eyes, I see people dying. I see you covered in blood. And all I can think is, I'm the reason this keeps happening." Leon's chest tightened. "You're not the reason." "I am," Aaron insisted, tears finally spilling down. "You said it yourself. They came after me because they knew what I meant to you. If I hadn't married you, if I hadn't stayed." Leon crossed the room in 2 strides, grabbing his wrists gently but firmly. "If you hadn't stayed, I'd be dead by now. You don't get it, do you? You make me want to live. That's the only reason I fight." Aaron's voice broke. "Then why does loving you feel like dying?" Silence fell, sharp and raw. Leon's grip loosened, his expression shifting from anger to heartbreak. "Because I don't know how to love without breaking things," he whispered. "I was raised to kill, to rule, to take. No one ever taught me how to keep something precious." Aaron looked at him, really looked, at the man behind the title, behind the blood and rage. And for the first time he saw fear. Not of bullets or betrayal, but of himself. He reached up, touching Leon's cheek softly. "Then let me teach you." Leon froze, breath catching. His hand came up, covering Aaron's, pressing it to his face as if grounding himself. "I don't deserve that," he murmured. "Maybe not," Aaron said, voice trembling but sure. "But I still choose you." Leon leaned in, forehead resting against his. The air between them was thick with everything unspoken. Pain, longing, the fragile thread of hope. But before they could close that distance, the phone on the table buzzed violently. Leon answered, and his face drained of color. "What?" His voice turned sharp. "When?" Aaron's heart skipped. "What happened?" Leon ended the call slowly, his knuckles white around the phone. "They took Luca," he said quietly. "Vittorio's men have him. And they left a message." Aaron swallowed hard. "What message?" Leon looked up, eyes burning with fury and fear. "Trade your husband for your brother in arms, or we send you his heart in a box." The line went dead. The silence that followed was colder than death. Aaron whispered, "Leon, what are you going to do?" Leon's gaze darkened. The man, the monster, and the lover all merging into one. "What I should have done long ago," he said. "End this war, even if it costs me everything." The sky was a storm of black clouds when Leon made the call. Thunder rolled in the distance. Fitting, Aaron thought, because something inside him felt like it was breaking apart too. Leon stood by the window, phone to his ear, voice low and lethal. "I'll come alone. But if you touch him before I get there, I'll burn your entire empire to the ground, Vittorio." The line went silent. Then a laugh, cold and cruel. "Bring your husband, or don't come at all." The call ended. Aaron, who had been listening from the doorway, froze. His pulse spiked. "You're not going to take me there, right?" Leon turned, his face unreadable. "No." "You're staying here." "No." Aaron's voice cracked. "You think I'll just sit here while you walk into a death trap? You said they want me. That means they'll kill you the moment you show up alone." Leon exhaled sharply, running a hand through his hair. "Aaron, listen to me. I won't let them use you again. You've already been through enough." Aaron stepped forward, tears burning his eyes. "You don't get to decide what I can handle. You're not just some cold-hearted boss anymore, Leon. You're my husband. You're the man I—" He stopped himself, trembling. "You're the man I can't lose." For a second, the mask slipped. Leon looked like he wanted to say something. "Maybe I love you, maybe I'm sorry," but the words never came. He just cupped Aaron's face, pressing a kiss to his forehead. "If anything happens," Leon murmured, "promise me you'll run. Don't look back." Aaron whispered, "I'm not promising that." By midnight, Leon was gone. A single car speeding toward the docks. But Aaron wasn't far behind. He'd stolen one of the guards' phones, traced the coordinates, and followed on foot once the car stopped. Rain drenched the docks, puddles reflecting flashes of lightning as shadows moved between shipping containers. Vittorio's men surrounded the area, at least 20 of them. Aaron hid behind a stack of crates, watching as Leon stepped into the open, gun in hand. Across from him, Vittorio emerged, tall, cruel-eyed, with a smirk that oozed victory. Luca knelt at his feet, bound and bleeding.
Leon Moretti, Vittorio Drold.
Always the martyr. You've brought your empire down for one man. And for what? Some fragile little husband who doesn't even belong in your world. Leon's voice was ice. You don't talk about him. Oh, but he's the reason all this started, isn't he?
Vittorio Snird.
The boy who melted the Mafia's coldest heart. Leon raised his gun. Let him go, Vittorio. You want me, you take me. He and my husband stay out of this.
Vittorio Ciaccold.
Funny you say that. Because your husband's already here. Leon froze. Then, from the corner, Aaron stepped into view. Soaked, shaking, but with fire in his eyes.
Arin, no.
Leon's voice broke. I'm not leaving you again, Aaron said. If you die, I die with you.
Vittorio clapped slowly.
How romantic. Two fools in love, offering themselves to death. Fine, let's make this interesting. He raised his gun, and everything exploded into chaos. Leon fired first, dropping 2 men instantly. Luca broke free just long enough to tackle 1 guard. Aaron ducked as bullets tore through the air. Rain turned the dock red. Then, out of nowhere, Vittorio aimed directly at Aaron. Leon saw it. Too late to think, too fast to stop. He moved instinctively. The gunshot echoed across the water. Aaron screamed. Leon stumbled backward, blood blooming across his side, crimson spreading through his white shirt like spilled ink. Vittorio smirked, until Leon raised his own gun with trembling hands and shot him clean through the chest. Vittorio fell without a sound. The dock fell silent. The storm raged on. Leon finally steps away from the shadows that have defined his life for so long. The empire he once ruled with iron precision. The empire built on fear, blood, and endless obligations, is left behind, surrendered to silence and peace. In the quiet of their new home, far from the world that had once demanded everything of him, he kneels in the garden and begins planting red roses. Each bloom, deep and vivid, mirrors the memory of their past. The danger, the pain, the blood they shared. But now, in this sanctuary, they are symbols of something far gentler. Hope, resilience, and love. Aaron watches him from the doorway, the soft sunlight catching the edges of his face, a smile tugging at the corner of his lips. He approaches slowly, letting his hand brush against Leon's, feeling the warmth of a man who had once been untouchable. You once hated my love? Aaron whispers, voice trembling with the weight of everything they've endured. Now, it's all that keeps you alive. Leon looks up, the faintest trace of vulnerability in his eyes, a language he never spoke before. And in that shared glance, a lifetime of hurt and longing dissolves, leaving only the quiet understanding of 2 souls who had finally found their place in each other. Their story does not end with perfection. It does not end with grand gestures or fairy tale promises. It ends with something far rarer, healing. Leon's heart, once encased in ice, has learned to feel. And Aaron, who had loved him through every shadow and scar, finally knows that love can survive even the darkest of storms. Together, they watch the roses bloom, each petal a reminder that even in the aftermath of pain, life, and love can flourish.